Hello, this is going to be like a series for Jupiter conjunctions or Jupiter aspect with different planets. So, as you know, in Vedic astrology, it's always better if the planet is on its own in a sign. However, some people have got two planets in a sign, or three, or four, or sometimes even five or more. And but I'm going to do today, start uh, with Jupiter conjunctions or aspects, and we go from there. Clearly, the aspect is going to be better with Jupiter, any planet actually, because obviously, if there is one agenda per house, it's so much better than having two agendas per house. So, I feel as though it's always better if the planets are particularly if they're friendly towards each other in good condition, if they could be aspecting each other rather than being together, because that kind of means that two people are talking at the same time. So you can make things, but obviously we've got no choice. We have chosen what we've chosen, and we're dealing with what we're dealing because we chose to do this. So I'm just going to go through the indications of Jupiter, and then as through this we'll go through different planets and what it's like being with Jupiter. So obviously, Jupiter and Venus are two absolute benefics. With Jupiter, I'm going to just put so-called, because Venus generally, unless it is a bad planet for you, is the planet that does not discriminate in any way, shape, or form. But Jupiter, on the other hand, Jupiter is a bit fussy, and it does kind of like once it's a bit choosy about what and whom it kind of is connected with, if you like. So anyway, let's have a look, because that once we go through it, I'll give you some more information about Jupiter. So Jupiter is planet of the bigger picture, basically. It's planet of contentment, joy. It's Jeeva karaka. That means it's life force, basically. And it creates opportunity, optimism. It's planet of learning, wisdom, teaching, higher knowledge, happiness, joy, wealth, education. It's the karaka, or the significator for children, which is our biggest joy. It's the planet that we look for in terms of religion, justice, travel, because it rules 9th natural sign of the zodiac and 12th natural sign of the zodiac. So 12th house is spirituality, faraway lands, and 9th house is very much to do with pilgrimage, or basically going away for, say, education and coming home, and religion, belief system. This planet of spirituality, as I said, belief system, it's idealistic planet. It rules all forms of things like psychology, those kind of philosophy, and planet of expansion, and also it's how we set our goals, if you like. It rules, as I said, Sagittarius and Pisces, and they could not be two more different signs, really, because Sagittarius is very focused on goals, much more goal oriented than as Pisces. Pisces is much more floaty, go with the flow of life, because also water sign, and it's a more creative sign. Whereas Sagittarius is much more like about getting the job done. And whether it's you always want to have a look at your Sagittarius, where it falls in your chart, because even if it's, say, for example, if it's your 3rd house, so that will be your Libra, Sagittarius means that everything that you say, because this planet is how you communicate, 3rd house, has a goal, has a message, has a direction. So it is, wherever Sagittarius falls in our chart, it has a direction, it has a focus, it's got a means of getting there, and we can be a little bit more direct about that in a sense. Any planet that is actually in Pisces is a little bit lost anyway, because it's not grounded, because it's Pisces, it rules feet, and feet and a water sign. It's a strange setup, really, isn't it? Unless if you're a mermaid. And so we're not really completely grounded about any planets that fall in Pisces, generally speaking. So it's more connection with other realms, really. So, and Jupiter is friendly with Mars, Sun, Moon, Mars, Sun, Moon, and also I would say with Ketu as well. But it's neutral with Saturn, and it's unfriendly enemies with Venus, Mercury, and I would say it's not good with Rahu. Rahu can bring deception, so it's and this is our ethics, really. This planet, so it's not going to go very well. As I said, it's Jupiter can be led by class, it can discriminate, it can be a little bit snobbish as a planet, and it can make us be a little bit too idealistic. Like, for example, if it's in your seventh house, this is the sort of person they want to be with. They've got to be like this, they've got to be like that, they've got to come from that sort of background, that kind of thing. So they could actually, somebody with Jupiter in the seventh house can have those kind of ideas. And in a sense, what will happen is, like, they could really overlook really wonderful partners because of that, because obviously they don't live in the right side of town, they don't drive the right car, that kind of thing can be very much the theme for Jupiter. So that's something to be aware of. Whereas Venus is not like that, because they see with Venus, they see the potential in the person. Jupiter can't see that potential. So this is the difference between them. This is where you can get a bit naughty. So for me, Jupiter, for example, what it does, it has it actually impacts my third house. So what it does is, like, I'm constantly learning. And then I really need Saturn, which luckily I do have that helping. It kind of makes me much more grounded and brings it together, because if I was just to let Jupiter do his thing, I'll be constantly doing third house stuff, and I can literally be on course after course after course after course, and I'm too old to be studying. I finished education in 1980, so well, that was just like teenage years, but just generally speaking, it can just keep you going for years. And you be constantly studying, because you always feel as though there is an ocean of information and I need to be diving in there. So really, it's good if then Saturn does ground you and actually think, well, how about consolidating? It's no point learning if you don't put it together and utilize it. So yeah, it can be a little bit naughty like that. So anyway, so that's kind of what Jupiter is all about, really. And I just wanted to just say Jupiter rules the liver and loves sugary foods. So Jupiter is good for some. Obviously, it's going to be good for some ascendant and not so good for other ascendants. So you'd always want to just make sure that you look at all of those things as well. Don't think that it's just because it's Jupiter is going to be good for you. It's not that case at all. It's not a good planet, for example. It's definitely not a good planet for Libra ascendant or for Taurus ascendant. It can create lots of difficulties for them. So yeah, but I find even if it's a bad planet for them, in transit it's a lot more gracious, really. It does work really well for that. And overall, I just want to say that it is the planet of, it does give you opportunities, which is the most amazing thing about Jupiter. Right, so now I'm going to do Jupiter conjunctions. Thank you. Jupiter rules Thursdays. Rules color yellowy kind of orangey, mustardy colors. And it's exalted in Cancer, which is a sign of family and being a unit together, having each other's back, and debilitated in Capricorn, which is all about status and achievement. So it's doesn't really like that as such. It also, yellow diamonds are ruled by Jupiter, and citron, which is a beautiful, they're both very beautiful and create that optimism, that yellow color. So that's pretty lovely. Okay, let's start the conjunctions or aspects with other planets. Hello, this video is for Mars and Jupiter conjunctions. I've already been through the indications for Jupiter, so I'm just going to go through this indication of Mars. And it's worth knowing that these two planets are friendly towards each other, so they work quite well. And what happens is Mars is basically very willful. And Jupiter is like the older, the father figure, the guru, the teacher as such. So therefore, it has calming and sort of nurturing way towards Mars. So this actually is quite a nice. Out of all the friends that Mars has, this is the one that works for a lot, because there's a lot of respect, and what it does, it kind of brings that, particularly if it's a really good planet for your ascendant and they're in good situation, they can really improve your work, if you like, your life, just purely because as we get to know how to use the planet's indications, you kind of realize that there is like it gives optimism opportunities to Mars, so they know that the energy can be long-term and put to good use. So Mars rules obviously Aries and Scorpio, and is friendly with Jupiter, Sun, Moon, and Venus. Although they say it's neutral to Venus, but in some of the Vedas, some of the scriptures, it does say that it's friendly towards Venus. But it's definitely very good friends with Mars, and as such is it's going to give that source of knowledge that Mars is looking for. So Mars will be your energy, it'll be your muscles, your blood's circulatory system, and your will, how courageous you are, your logic, bravery. It rules fights, sharp things, metals, athletes, sports, particularly competitive sports, anger, fights and wars and battles, impulse, rules your solar plexus, so it's your fight and flight mode. It's your impulse, as I said, and it's your initiation, pioneer, particularly in Aries, because it's the first sign of the zodiac, so it's how you initiate things. And your spark, passion, motivation. It rules all things like surgery, emergencies, soldiers, police, artillery, weapons, competitiveness in any way. Any private investigators, spies, action. It's purpose. And so it's obviously very important to all of us. Without it, we'll have no motivation to get anything started, because it's our form of how we actually tackle everything in life. And so you can understand if somebody has got like Mars debilitated, unless if it's getting like push from Saturn, or another planet is helping it, it's the person really doesn't see the motivation to get moving, so and if Mars is in a bad condition, Saturn is in bad condition, then there is literally, the person is like literally will find it difficult to get moving in life. So they have to things, unless Dasha kicks things in for them. So, and obviously Jupiter will be now the coach, the general, they're both actually military as well. I just wanted to point that out, because the soldier is now got a general to take orders from. This is very important because when you have all that energy, all that will, all that motivation and impulse, in you, and you don't have direction, it's very difficult to get. So you could put your sort of waste energy. So this is now gives you the energy to direct it to something more important. So anyway, it gives wisdom to Mars and expands, gives opportunities, and gives it focus and forward looking as well, because Jupiter is very focused and very forward looking. It's a Sattvic planet, so it wants to make things long lasting. So now now that all those indications, as long as they're not within a degree, when they're in a degree within a degree of each other, what happens is they're in a planetary war. So that's, and then you have the situation where the two planets are arguing with each other, and Jupiter is indicator of children. So you don't want it to be in that situation where it's going to be harming Jupiter. So it's, in a sense, it's always better if Jupiter is stronger in that sense. But nonetheless, though, it's still pretty good. And with so it can give you, the first child could be a boy. Obviously depends on the sign as well. And so, yeah, for the right ascendant and right condition, they can create a situation where there's dignity and integrity within the fabric of Mars, will be intertwined in their personality, where they just want to do the right thing. They're not going to be like the soldier or the I don't know, the agent that's going to just, like, because of some rogue money, they're going to overlook something. They won't do that. If it's in good condition, they want to do the right thing, because Mars wants to protect land. It is the karaka for land, and homeland, that kind of thing can be important to them. That's what it's important to have it in, it gives it that kind of do the right thing. So also they want to fight for the belief system. They want to fight for something that's just, and that's what Jupiter brings to the table. Brings that justice, law, fighting for the right cause, that kind of thing. But I don't know if you remember, there was a year when we had like Jupiter and Ketu together in Sagittarius. I think it might be a few years back now. And where the ISIS and all that happened, so it was like not a very good situation so because Ketu can also be like Mars, but obviously it's not really as it's the nodes are a bit tricky, aren't they? So that's when it was like the birth of that kind of thing. So Jupiter expanded the wrong things, because they're not they are. Jupiter and Ketu can work together quite well, but if they're in a bad sign, it can create issues. So yeah, so and it's obviously Jupiter is wealth, travel, and all of those things. So these people will put a lot of effort and energy into making money, and they just right things will come to them, really, that through they just get the knowledge, and they're both quite fire planets. So they are in a sense Jupiter Sattvic, just Jupiter being like a planet of doing the right thing, if you like, and that's really kind of purifies Mars's belief, if you like. And so lots of energy and put into knowledge and learning and doing the right thing, generally speaking. So this can be quite a good thing, really. And for certain like, for example, for Libra and Taurus, Jupiter is not a very good planet, and so that could be slightly difficult, but generally speaking, though, as long as they're in good condition, then it can actually, with time, things can improve. And you never should feel like you have been disempowered by anything, because even if it's a bad condition, you're using astrology, so you should empower yourself. Remember that you still have free will. We have more free will than you think. You were just born with that chart. That chart is not going to be determine all your future. So I'll just urge you to just like think of the positive things, and out of this, some serious beauties can come out. Now, I also have to just say, just because I have quite strong Sagittarius, and I have to just rein it in, because I remember both my teachers, actually, Corey and Charlo, they both said to me, Sagittarius can bring a downfall. Obviously, Jupiter in Sagittarius, very different to Jupiter in Pisces. Jupiter in Pisces, much more easygoing. Now, Jupiter in Sagittarius can get people into difficulty, because they are so preaching. and they could be preaching to their friends, their family, to their partner, and so that could be a little bit difficult. So and particularly imagine if it's in the third house as well, say for example for like say for a Libra ascendant or something. So we just got to be just using it in the right way, and just being aware, and sometimes also when planets are at the same degree where another planet can be like more Tricone sign or exaltation sign, that could also activate them as though the planet owning that sign is there. Like for example, if you got the node at 5 degrees of Cancer, that planet can bring out the it acts like a Jupiter at 5 degrees exalted as well. So that kind of thing can, so just don't always think that it's going to be like, I definitely have seen that. I've been told that by my teachers, and I have seen that a planet at certain degrees can actually also work just like that exalted or debilitated planet too. So anyway, so the condition of Mars and Jupiter will be essential to this. Now I'm going to do the video for the ascendants now. Thank you.